Welcome. Let's dive into this comprehensive explainer on how to become a notary in Indiana and elevate your professional credentials. Whether you're looking to advance in your current career or maybe start a brand new side hustle, you are in exactly the right place. Have you ever wondered how to become a notary in Indiana and boost your professional credentials? Well, in this step-by-step guide, we'll unravel the entire process for you from start to finish, ensuring you have all the details you need to succeed. There have been some major system overhauls recently, new bonds, new educational requirements, so we're going to break it all down so you don't miss a single beat. All right, let's look at our roadmap. Today we're covering the role of Indiana notaries, key eligibility requirements, education and examination, the application process, duties and best practices, and finally, renewals and continuing ed. Okay, Section 1, Role of Indiana Notaries. So under Indiana Code 33-42, a notary public is essentially an impartial public official. You're appointed by the governor and commissioned by the Secretary of State. Your primary job? Serving as an independent witness. You'll verify the identities of folks signing legally significant documents. Think wills, property deeds, marriage licenses, adoption papers, the really big stuff. By doing this, you act as a critical deterrent to fraud, basically making sure everyone is who they say they are and that they actually understand what they're signing. But look, becoming a notary isn't just about public service. It can absolutely open doors for your own career. Professionals in real estate, banking, and law, they pursue this all the time to make themselves way more valuable to employers. Plus, it is a fantastic way to generate supplemental income on your own schedule. And, as we'll talk about later, Indiana now allows you to work as a remote online notary. That means you can notarize documents for signers literally anywhere in the U.S., as long as you are physically located in Indiana at the time. Pretty cool, right? Let's move on to Section 2, Key Eligibility Requirements. Right out of the gate, you've got to meet some strict criteria. First, you have to be at least 18 years old. You also must be a legal, full-time resident of Indiana, or primarily employed in the state. On top of that, you need to be a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident who can read and write English. And because this is an Office of Public Trust, you've got to have a clean background. Specifically, no felony convictions or crimes where the sentence imposed was over 6 months, unless, of course, your rights have been legally restored. Okay, Section 3, Education and Examination. Once you know you're eligible, applicants have to complete a mandatory state-approved notary education course. You access this right through the state's INBiz portal. It's a comprehensive course covering Indiana notary law, the exact procedures for acknowledging signatures and administering oaths, and maybe most importantly, it lays out your personal liabilities. It's really designed to set you up for absolute success and keep you on the right side of the law. And the standard here is pretty strict. You need to score an 80% or higher to pass the state exam. The test itself is 30 multiple choice and true or false questions, all based entirely on that education course you just took. My absolute best advice here, take thorough notes during the training module. Seriously, do not just skim it. Up next, Section 4, the application process. The crucial thing here is following these exact steps chronologically. You want to avoid any bureaucratic headaches, right? So, first, complete the education and exam. Second, get a limited criminal history record from the Indiana State Police. Third, secure a specific surety bond. And finally, take the whole shebang, your course certificate, background check, bond documentation, and upload it to the Secretary of State's INBiz portal, along with a specimen of your signature. Let's pause on Step 3 for just a second. A major requirement they added in recent years is securing a $25,000 official surety bond. Now, it is absolutely critical to understand that this bond does not protect you. It's there to protect the public from any financial harm caused by a mistake you might make while notarizing. You have to get this from an approved surety provider before you even submit your state application. So, how much does all this actually cost? Let's break it down, because transparency is key when you're investing in a professional credential. The education course, that'll run anywhere from $30 to $150 depending on the provider. The police background check is usually $15 to $40. The premium for that $25,000 bond will typically cost you between $100 and $250 for the entire term. And then there's the state application fee. Now, if you look at the state application fees, you're actually going to see two different numbers. The base statutory fee required by law is just $5, which goes to the state's general fund. But the total online processing cost you'll actually pay is exactly $74.37. The state assesses these extra enhanced access fees to fund the INBiz system itself, the education vendors, and the 24/7 IT infrastructure that makes processing your digital records possible. Okay, so after you submit your app and the state approves your commission, you still aren't quite ready to notarize. You need your tools. First, you've got to buy an official notary stamp, making sure your signature matches your application exactly. You also need a notary journal. Since 2018, Indiana strictly requires notaries to keep a journal of all their notarial acts. Think of it as your personal logbook. It is a massive protection for you if a document you notarized is ever challenged in court. Section 5. Duties and Best Practices. Before you officially start, you are required to take an oath of office. You're swearing to support the Constitution and faithfully discharge your duties as a public official. Hoosiers expect their notaries to be honest and faithful to the law. Failing to maintain moral character or committing prohibited acts can actually result in a judge or the Secretary of State revoking your commission entirely. And a huge core rule of your daily practice is absolute impartiality. You have to be a neutral third party. Under state and common law, you absolutely cannot notarize a document for yourself. No way. You also can't notarize your spouse's signature or any document where you or your spouse might directly benefit. If there is even a hint of a conflict of interest, the absolute best practice is to step away and recommend they use a different notary. Finally, Section 6, Renewals and Continuing Ed. Here is some truly great news. Indiana offers one of the longest commission terms in the entire country. Once you're approved, your commission lasts for a full 8 years. But you don't just get to forget about the rules for a decade. To keep that 8-year commission active, you are required to complete mandatory continuing education. Specifically, you have to take a CE course every 2 years. So your first one is due 2 years after your commission, the second at 4 years, and the third at 6 years. These are due by the end of your commissioning month, and they're just there to help ensure you stay up to date on any legal changes. Also, one amazing way to expand your practice is by becoming a remote online notary, or RON. If you want to offer this, you'll need to complete an additional 3-hour training course covering remote best practices and the tech requirements. You also have to pass a specific RON exam with an 80% or higher and pay an additional enhanced access application fee of $89.55. But once you're approved, you can legally notarize documents via webcam for anyone across the country. It's a real game changer. As with any legal or government process, regulations can and do evolve. So remember to always verify current requirements, fee structures, and procedures directly with the Indiana Secretary of State's official INBiz resources before you begin. Well, that wraps up our explainer. As the digital age transforms how we verify our most important legal moments, will you step up to become one of the trusted officials shaping the future of Indiana commerce?